Today's not my day. Take 5 million. I keep getting interrupted with calls. We got a new bathroom fitted yesterday. Okay? I'll not show you around because the walls need painted and Laura would never forgive me. But I've started moving in, and that's a story. But anyway, the bathroom's been one headache from start to finish. We got the bathroom suite from a very reputable company here in the UK and Ireland. I think it's probably Home Depot in America, but we call it different. We call it something different, called B&Q. So we bought this wonderful bathroom, a sink that I've always wanted, a vanity sink. It sinks into pardon the pun, into a vanity unit. It's brilliant, and we paid for it, and their fitter came out and assessed the job. Oh yeah, it'll be in 4 days. Bye, brilliant. This was back in March. April came, end of April came, and he said, "Look, can't do it in the first week of May. I'll be at the second or third week of May." Second week came, no, sorry, third week of May, got a phone call. First on the Monday, can't do it this week. Will have to be next week, which was the last week of May, fourth week of May. He rang Laura when we were at church, left a voicemail to say, look, he couldn't do it because his plumber had decided to take he was taking planned annual leave. Well, that would mean planned annual leave means he knew all about it. So he let us down and would not answer the calls for days. So we rang B&Q, and long story short, they said, look, this has never happened before. Look, we appreciate your custom. How about we return your funds for your bathroom? Because we had already had the bathroom. Bathroom suite was in our garage. That's another thing we've got back again, our garage. That'll be something else to tidy up. But anyway, so they refunded us all the money and let us keep the bathroom suite. I bought a water bottle. So, fast forward now, that was May, this is now August. We got another company to come, and this was July. They said, right, we'll be in August. Hope that we'll be in either the last week of July or the first week of August. We'll get it fitted. So if they had come last week, I would have got all this jobs done. I was off for 18 days leave, and I'm now going to get 6 days left. Anyway, so that's the disaster. And here's disaster number 2. It's leaking. They said it would take them 3 days. They rushed it yesterday. They did a rush job. Bathroom looks lovely, but in below the bathroom we have a room off our kitchen called the utility room. Years ago, the Americans always wondered why people always in UK and Ireland kept their washing machine and dryer in the kitchen. It's a strange concept. Early 2000s, something came in and people were, when the building houses were put in a utility room. And in there's a sink and usually a back door, and the washer dryer goes in there. So that's that explained. It was wet on the floor. We didn't look up till last night when I was doing the lock up. Laura likes me to do check the doors so they're locked. I looked up, ceiling was all yellow, and the walls were wet. So I had to ring a plumber this morning. Last night I had to call him out at 6 o'clock. He finished the job at 4:30. Had to call him out again at 6 because we had no water pressure and the hot water was off. So he rushed it. He really rushed it. Great, lovely fella, but just rushed. Get it done today. I think he's a big job on today. Anyway, so that's that palaver. So I've started moving in my shaving gear. Probably to move it back out again. But that is another story because my office is cluttered to the hilt. I don't know what that means, but cluttered to the hilt with stuff. And Now that I've got all my shaving products out, I've dumped a lot of stuff that I hadn't been using. That's a big step for me. I come from a long line of hoarders, okay? I'll talk about that in a minute. So yeah, so the room's starting to there's a little room, so there's more space. There's a wee bit of space, so I have to start utilizing that space to try and make room to start decluttering the rest of the room. So yeah, so I come from a long line of hoarders. My mother, right, take this can, okay? It's Tesco. It's a British brand, British and Irish brand. In fact, it's actually a supermarket, a store, superstore. Um, it's probably, I think it's Costco. There's a nice aftertaste. I don't like the initial taste, but I love the aftertaste. It's cream soda, and it's pretty pink and yellow banding on it. Uh, my mother would see that, she would drink that, and then she would keep the can, the empty can, put it in a cupboard. Containers that comes with fast food, plastic containers. People sometimes keep them and use them for other things like batch cooking, put them in the freezer. My mother says, oh, they'll come in handy sometime. And she keeps them in a cupboard. And then the cupboard gets full and she keeps them in a other cupboard. And when that cupboard gets full, then she starts keeping them on the bench, on the kitchen bench, workbench. She has hundreds of the things dating back prehistorically from probably 2007. I know. My mother is a hoarder, big hoarder. She has an issue with throwing things out, a big issue. Her grandfather before, on her mother's side, he was worse again. He kept everything. And I mean, back in those days, probably in the 70s, 60s, 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s, everything came in like a little tin can, a little tin box, like biscuits came in like a tin box. Fudge probably came out of, candy came in a tin box. All these different things came in tin boxes. And I've actually one of my grandfather's tin boxes upstairs. I threw out a deck of cards in them, I threw them out, and I cleansed the inside of it, and I used tin box for no purpose. Because I love tin boxes, I'm not a hoarder in those, but I do have two or three. So, yeah. So, my great grandfather would have hoarded those sort of things as well. So, we're hoarders. So, I'm slowly getting together my office. I want to get a small bed back into it again. And I want to get my desk fixed up again because it just was dumped. Everything was dumped in there. And for those 3 months that we were waiting for our bathroom, I was sitting in a like 1 square foot in it. My basically my chair, and that was it because all my bathroom products were in there. We were throwing other stuff in there just to place a dumping ground basically. So I was in there and I was just sort of 1 little square foot for my chair. I was doing my radio show from that one wee area. But anyway, so I want to finish up with some weird stuff that's been happening to me recently. If that's not all been all weird enough. My glasses are dirty, by the way, as you can see. I've been having these weird dreams lately. I always have weird dreams. But two that stuck out for the last 2 weeks is two um, dreams about my father, my estranged father, whom I haven't seen in the flesh in roughly about 10 or 11 years. We've spoken on the last time we spoke on the phone was 2018, January 2018. I read of the death of his father in the newspaper. I rang him to console him, and he told me to cough, basically. So that's a lovely gentleman that my father is. I never knew him growing up, My mother had told me that he was my father. Then she told me last year that he wasn't my father. Anyway, so um, so in those, I met him whenever I was 23, and I stopped speaking to him 10 years ago. Or sort of didn't stop. So we stopped. We both stopped speaking. He didn't want to know me. He told me I was dead to him. So I'm 37 now. So we'll say 10 years ago, 27. My maths is bad. I'm using my fingers. 4 years, I knew the man, and in those 4 years, we fought like cat and dog. One of the main reason for that was his drinking. His drinking was bad, and when he got drunk, he called me all the bastards. Horrible things. Horrible things. I ruined his life. Don't know how, because his wife stuck by him, accepted me into the family, treated me well. You know, his wife was lovely. But he's probably in the bar park figure of £360 up to about £400. So he's probably within that £40 bar limit of weight. He's a big man. He has very bad health. He's got heavy diabetes. He's got bad foot ulcers. He's got ulcers all over his body. Insulin. Whenever he has a wound from his insulin, it doesn't heal. It festers. It gets infected. Bang. So he's got bad lungs from his years and years of pigeons and smoking. He eats candy. He drinks 2 to 3 bottles of whiskey as well, from Fridays to Sunday. He blames everyone else. He had a drinking buddy whenever I first met him, James. James was a monk. I know. Had left the monastery to pursue his homosexuality. Fair, he didn't do what a lot of priests do. Fair play to him. He left and decided to do what he wanted to do. Fair play to him. He Whenever I was younger, I had very little hair on my face. Still have not very much hair. And I lived with my mother I was 23. I probably came across as probably in the closet. I used to have a gay work friend who used to call me a sissy. So that was lovely, you know. I never called him anything because he was my friend and I didn't want to upset him. That was what you do. You don't upset a friend. You don't call, and those names you shouldn't be calling anybody those names. So I screamed one day at the spider and he says, "You big sissy." You know, so anyway. So I probably do come across sometimes as a bit feminine. But James took it upon himself to tell my father whenever they were drinking. Dad would sit at one end of the table in his big office chair because he couldn't sit on normal chairs. He had to sit in his big office chair. It was all torn and ripped and stuff. James would have sat on the other end. He was as big as my dad, but he was shorter than my dad, so he obviously wasn't as big as my dad in weight, but he looked that size because he was shorter. He would say things to him like, and my dad would tell me these things after we would have a falling out, and then he would tell me, well, James was telling me that he could probably turn me, that I'm in the closet, and he's gonna help me explore my true feelings, you know. I know I have gay friends, and none of them goes on like that, you know. So, that upset me. That this old pervert would go on like that. Anyway, moving forward. So my dad would tell me then later on that this is what James was saying to him, and it really turned his head. So yeah. But anyway, we haven't spoken in all that time, and yeah. I'm sorry, I'm just having memories of other things. Anyway, um, I probably need counselling now, but um, you know, so then whenever he died, we actually got on better, and then one of my half brothers started to sit and worship, and obviously as a Christian back then, it didn't really sit right with me, and it was freaking out my dad badly and his mum, and there was things happening, and he would say, "Oh Satan, oh Satan, oh Satan," bring it back together again. And these things would happen, and it would scare his mother more than his father. But it's scary, And there was one day I was sitting in the kitchen and was chatting to dad and stuff, and I never really felt right calling him my dad. I was always just, yeah, yeah, I know, dad, yeah. I felt maybe better just calling him George, but he wanted me to call him dad. Sitting in the background, and I heard my half brother Gary in the background saying, "I'll kill him. I'll stab him. Yes, I'll do it, Satan. I'll do it. I'll do it. I'll do it. I'll do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it." And the minute he got up from the chair, the dad gave a massive roar. "Gary, sit down!" Gary sat down because they had heard him too, and he was going to the knife drawer to take out a knife to stab me. It was scary, you know. So that broke down a relationship for a while because I didn't want to come up. I didn't want to go up because I didn't feel safe with Gary. And then I met Laura, and that didn't go down well with my dad. So we fought a while because he wanted me to come up to him on strict days. And yeah, so anyway, that's that story. And then obviously we had a massive row about something, and that was the end of things. I've forgiven him, and my door is always open to him if he needs me. I would love to have it that if anything happens to him, that I'd be able to go and say goodbye. But I think his ignorance wouldn't allow me to do. He wouldn't allow me to do that, to have the final goodbye. But I think for my sake, as Laura said in the dream, I would never forgive myself if something happened to him without us speaking. Although I am prepared. If he calls me, I have the same number. I have the same number. If he calls me, I have tried to call him several times in the last 10 years, and I've just had a knockback. Phone, obviously, they ended the call. So the ball is in his court, and yeah. But so those dreams have sort of annoyed me, and brought back a lot of memories there. I'm gonna make this not safe for children because that was very graphic. Some of the stuff that come out with there. I do apologize, but yeah, maybe have to heavily edit some of that stuff. Thanks for watching. Take care. See you in the next vlog.